I'm James Derrick. Today, I will be interviewing Sharla Jessop. She and I will take a step back from all the financial minutia to discuss setting and celebrating our personal goals and achievements. By the end of the podcast, I hope to have Sharla in the hot seat, sharing some personal goals with all of us.
Welcome to the SFS Power Up Wealth podcast, where we provide impactful insight and expert opinions on timeless financial principles and timely investment topics, preparing you to make smarter decisions with your money.
Thank you for joining me today, Sharla.
Thanks for having me, James.
Sharla Jessop is president of Smedley Financial Services. She is a certified financial planner with a wealth of experience. Sharla, you recently wrote an article you titled Happy New Year, and you talked about setting and celebrating personal goals. And I noticed you didn't use the term New Year's resolutions. I understand some people might find that overwhelming. I'm wondering, did you do that on purpose? And, what advice could you give to us about setting goals and making them more freeing and less daunting?
Exactly. To me, when I think of New Year's resolutions, and it's probably the same with most people, all of your flaws. Okay, well, I do this wrong and I got to do that better. I got to lose weight. I have to eat better. I need to exercise more. I got to save more money. I mean, it just seems overwhelming in a way to me. I think the reality is most people who make New Year's resolutions would agree that by March, they're just not following them so well. They start out hot and then it fizzles. And so doing a goal that is meaningful to you and that you can stick to and is something that you really want to accomplish, and not doing a list of items, just, keep it to a few things. I mean, you can always you don't just have to make goals in the first of the year. You can really make them all year long. So if you finish something or feel like you've accomplished it, you could start something out.
Absolutely. It reminds me when you see a magazine, it's like 101 ideas to improve your finances. And you're just like, it takes a long time to even read the list, let alone accomplish 101 things. But if I had one thing that I really wanted to focus on, I think I could do it.
I agree with that. And I think also if you break it up so it's manageable, I'll just compare it to dieting because a lot of people have dealt with eating better or dieting. I know I have. If you all start a diet one day and it's crash diet and you've cut off all the things you're used to, all the things you find joy in eating, it's depressing and you find yourself hungry and you're wanting things all the time. But if you just change a few things in your eating habits and start off 1 week replacing a meal or something simple, maybe cut down on the soda pop, that would be mine. Let's cut out some of the soda pop, and slowly transition, you're more likely to change a habit and achieve your goal versus just setting a resolution and trying to make it, I'm going to lose this much by this time. Make it a lifetime.
Yeah, I like that. I want to dive a little bit deeper into one word you said, which was replace. In the book Habits, they talk about this. Like you don't just move away from something, from a habit you want to break, but you have to move to something. Could you talk a little bit about replacement and whether it's dieting or whether it's finances or personal relationships or something else?
Let's put it in the context of finance, because if people are trying to change spending habits, for instance, let's say, I think most people struggle with this at one time or another, trying to control the limited funds that they have and their spending. But if you have a goal of reducing your spending, or not even reducing so much as focusing on how you want to spend your money, where do you want it to go? What are the things that are most important to me that I need to make sure I do first? Those are the things that, you always fill that bucket up. Whether it's money going to my 401k right from a paycheck, or adding to an IRA on a monthly basis, or, insurance for my home, my car, building an emergency fund so that if something happens, those are things that are automatically filled. And then determining how you're going to spend the other money that's more discretionary, the money that's a little extra. It only spends once. And so really being thoughtful about how you spend your money, you'll feel better about it after you've spent it and you won't have regrets. Let's say that I'm replacing something. Maybe I'm not going to go splurge shopping. Maybe I'm not going to go to the mall to look around, because looking around typically causes us to want to buy. I had a client one time who said something and it stuck with me forever. And he had said, the heart doesn't want what the eyes don't see. So if you don't go shopping or looking for things, you're probably not going to have a desire to buy it.
That's a lot harder to do nowadays with the internet.
It is. Yeah, that's another one we'll talk about later. Maybe turning off your phone and your feed. But, replacing that by saying, okay, I'm in charge of my spending and I have this much money and this is what I really want to get right now. This is important to me. I have this event coming up. Maybe I want a new outfit for that event. Or maybe I'm having a family party and I'm going to need to spend some extra on groceries. Or maybe we're planning for a vacation, so we save a little extra. But knowing what you're spending for and replacing your splurge spending with a plan what you're spending for.
It's about being intentional about how the money's going to be spent. It also reminds me a little bit of the phrase, pay yourself first. Because rather than if you want to cut back your spending, well, why do you want to cut back your spending? Is it to save a little bit more, to hold on to a little bit more? Well, if that's the case, pay yourself first, have it go directly to your 401k or directly into a separate bank account, and all the rest of the money may get spent. But if you pay yourself first, then you can make sure that gets done.
Right. Make sure you're not at the last of the list. That's what you're saying, where there's no money left.
And I think there's something to say about having a positive attitude versus a negative one, too. If you're focused on your new goal, that is way more exciting than focusing on avoiding your old mistake.
So true. And, as human beings, we're very visual. Not all of us, but most of us are visual. So we like to see something. And sometimes spending, we have something in our hand right then. We go shopping, we see something, we buy it. Well, now we own it and we have it and it's tangible. And sometimes saving isn't so tangible. Putting money in an account and not spending it is not really a tangible thing. So you have to create it tangible, make it a tangible, put a picture on the fridge that you see. I'm going to remodel my house. This is what it's going to look like. I'm going to buy this vehicle. I'm saving for it. I'm going to retire someday. This is where the trip I'm going to take. Just make it visual so so you can remember it.
I like that. That's a really great idea. And it's a good way to help you recognize the success as you get closer to it. So let's transition to some personal Sharla thoughts and questions here. What personal goals does Sharla Jessop have for 2024, if you don't mind?
Sure. Yeah, this will prove that I am not perfect. Even though I've been doing in this industry for over 30 years, I'm still not perfect at what we do. Spending. Being more cognitive of my spending is important to me. Making sure, just understanding where my money goes. Everybody's talked about their budgets and inflation and what's happened and how groceries are more. And having an understanding of where my non-discretionary money goes and where my discretionary money goes. Because I'll give you an instance. Subscriptions. I think I did an article on managing your subscriptions and going bankruptcy by subscriptions. And I am horrible at having subscriptions because I want to have them so that my grandkids can watch movies on Disney when they come over, or I have it for this reason, or I want to watch that movie. So I have a lot of subscriptions and I need to narrow those down. And those are just the types of things that I want to look at and say, okay, I can only watch one TV show at a time.
Maybe you could find a subscription service to help you keep track of your subscriptions.
I think there's an app for that.
Yeah, I think so. And, all this reminds me a little bit, too, of when I was first married, we would get our credit card bills, and I'd be like, there is no way we spent that much money. There must be a fraudulent transaction in here. And you start going through, or maybe you're thinking like your spouse may have bought some high ticket item that you didn't know about. So you start going through and you're like, wow, this really adds up. There's nothing in here fishy. It just adds up. And I find myself still doing that today after all these years. You still look at this bill and you're like, wow, this really adds up. You really have to make it a priority, kind of like dieting, where it's just, a constant effort. How about this, Sharla? One financial goal you would suggest to others?
I think a financial goal that everybody benefits from in their own budget or financial situation is just save a little more. So it doesn't have to be huge amounts of number. Maybe it's 1% more, maybe it's a certain dollar amount more, but save just a little bit more. Because we can say we're going to spend less, but like you had mentioned earlier, if we make the goal to save more and make it first, whether it's our 401k, retirement, I don't care how old you are, it's going to creep up fast. And you have limited time to save and resources. And the more you save early on, or as soon as you can, you're going to be in a better financial position when retirement comes.
Yeah, I like that. One of the things we've been talking a lot about in my family in the last week is not letting others define our financial values and our spending. And we find this a lot with friends that have good intentions who are like, well, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. Why not? And like, well, the money's already spent. At least that's what we're thinking. Maybe we should just tell them the money's already spent. We've got other priorities, because there's a little bit of peer pressure going on, and we certainly don't want to spread that to others, and we don't want them spreading it to us. And so that's one of my goals and my suggestions to everybody is you determine your own values and your own spending.
I think that's great. I think it's so easy to be caught up in that. And like you said, people don't do it intentionally. They're defining something that gives them joy and they want you to feel that same joy. But they don't know your financial situation. Nobody else knows your financial situation but you and your immediate family. And so, do what's right for you.
Yeah. Be confident about it. Okay. Final question. A non-financial recommendation to everyone for 2024.
For me, it's being more present in the moment and building and nurturing relationships. For instance, I'll use my family as an example. I want to be able to do more with them, spend more time paying attention to them, be in the moment with them, not on a device or not thinking about what needs to be done, and doing things together, finding ways to support them in all the things that they do. My grandkids are getting a little bit older and, they're involved in a lot of different things. And it's such a joy to be able to go and see them and support them. And it brings them happiness to know that somebody else is supporting them.
Yeah, I second that. What better way to find more happiness in 2024 than to set down your cell phone and look people in the eyes and spend some time with them. Thank you, Sharla, for joining me today.
Thank you, James.
Thank you for joining the Power Up Wealth podcast. Smedley Financial is located at 102 South, 200 East, Suite 100 in Salt Lake City, Utah, 84111. Call us today at 800-748-4788. You can also find us on the web at smedleyfinancial.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The views expressed are Smedley Financial's and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Roger M. Smedley, Sharla J. Jessop, James R. Derrick, Shane P. Thomas, Michael B. Ani, Jordan R. Hadfield, registered representatives. Investment advisor representatives of Smedley Financial Services, Inc. Advisory services offered through Smedley Financial Services, Inc. Smedley Financial Services, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities.